Konnichiwa. This is the Shogun's theme. This is a review of I want to say memoir or travel diary, tour diary, the Tremolo Diaries by Justin Currie, the great singer-songwriter, lead singer of Amitri. Tremolo is a musical term. It's like a wavering note. And I guess there's a bit of a double meaning here as Justin Currie has been battling Parkinson's disease. So Tremolo, I guess, with the wavering, interesting title to use for this work from, again, one of my favorite singer-songwriters of all time. I listened to this on the audiobook, so this was something that I heard in Justin's own voice. He's Scottish, so heavy Scottish accent. And just, I've been a Amitri fan since first time I heard Kiss This Thing Goodbye, probably back 88, 89 as a senior in high school. Let me fast forward a little bit. June 2023, I'm out. I took the wife, I took the kid, took him out to the desert in California, out there by Coachella, and we stayed in an Indian casino. And I was there to see Amitri play for about 35, 40 minutes. They were the opener for the opener of the Bare Naked Ladies. Bare Naked Ladies were on tour. Canadian band. Not a band that I'm a huge fan of. I liked a couple of their songs. But the chance to see Amitri again was enough for me to go drive from Arizona out to Coachella, Indio, about 3-hour drive. Other band on the bill was Semisonic, who I really enjoyed their first record quite a bit. Obviously Closing Time, but there's other good songs on there too. So it was a chance to see two bands. Well, one band, obviously Semisonic, I liked a lot. I liked that one record. But Amitri is my favorite band of all time. And the idea of being able to see them again, let me go back a little bit further. March 2022, Amitri's out with a new record, Fatal Mistakes. Fantastic record. Great record. Sometimes a band puts out a record after a lot of years. It doesn't sound very good. You don't want to hear the new stuff. And in fact, one of the Justin Currie mentions this in one of the writings in this book. He talks about people when they play the new stuff, people go to the bathroom or go to the bar. I had the opposite. I enjoyed a lot of it. In fact, there was a couple songs off the new record they didn't play when I saw them in 2022, and that I wanted them to play. That I enjoyed the new record a lot. So they had gotten, they had a hiatus for a while, and they had done some concerts here and there, but I hadn't seen Amitri since the Supper Club, I think about 1997, with my old roommate Johnny D, and it was a long time ago, and I didn't know that was going to be the last time I was going to see them until 2022. So 1997, they're out, they had a new record out, a little controversy with the song Medicine, and but I didn't know that was going to be the last time I was going to see them. In fact, I didn't know if I was ever going to see them again. So they put out that new record, and in March 2022, they did a full show at Crescent Ballroom, a beautiful little venue here in Phoenix. Great place for music. Not a lot of people there. Again, nice thing about Phoenix, we're between, if a band is going to go to San Diego, LA, Denver, they'll always stop at Phoenix. So it was a great show. It was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. I hadn't seen Amitri since 1997. And by the time they're doing Stone Cold Sober, I'm fist pumping. I'm just having the time of my life. And I was, at that time, I didn't know that Justin Currie, I don't know if he was diagnosed yet that he had the Parkinson's or shortly after. But I was content that if that was the last time I was ever going to see Amitri, I was okay with it. I saw him, 3 times previously. I saw Justin Currie when he came out here in Phoenix for Lower Reaches. which I think is a pretty decent record. But again, in these diaries, he didn't seem like he was that much of a fan of that record. But he did some solo. He did a solo concert in a very small bar in Phoenix for Lower Reaches. But I was content after that 2022 show that if that was the last time I was going to get to see Del Amitri, I was okay with it because it was such a great show. And it was just such an unexpected thing. I didn't think I'd ever get to see them again unless I was going to go over to Scotland, which I almost did. You know, I did a couple of reunion shows prior to that a couple years before, and I was pretty tempted to fly out to, Scotland to go see them, Edinburgh or Glasgow. But after that 2022 show, when I saw the Bare Naked Ladies announce that they were going to be coming with Semisonic and Del Amitri to, the desert out there in Indio, I said I got tickets, and I told the family we're going out there. Now, and he talks about this in the diaries, what it's like to be the opener for the opener. And again, during this tour, he's dealing with the Parkinson's diagnosis. He's also dealing with his longtime girlfriend, I believe, having a stroke and being in the hospital. So he's going through a lot of rough stuff, and from the book, it's very clear that this tour was not high on his list of favorite tours of all time. But just as a fan, and I guess that's the point I'm trying to make here with this reading about his perspective of that tour. And again, he's dealing with obviously his own health crisis, the health crisis of his girlfriend. But as a fan of Del Amitri, especially a longtime fan who never thought he'd get to see Del Amitri again, even though they only played 35, 40 minutes, it meant so much to go out there and see that show. So if there's any kind of solace, any kind of, the basket is half full, that, if Justin Currie is ever going to watch this, just know that, after, listening to this book and hearing about this tour and what how hard it was on you just mentally and health-wise and all those things, as a fan, it meant a lot to see. And again, obviously at the time, I didn't know you were going through those things. As a fan, it really meant a lot to be able to see you guys one more time. And just to share a funny, touching kind of moment, most of the fans there were obviously there to see Bare Naked Ladies. There were some there, I'm sure, for Semisonic. Again, Del Amitri was there. They were the opener of the opener. So they come on, to place the arena and the casino. Probably not even half full yet. And they come on. And I, of course, know every song that they're doing. Again, they do like a 35, 40-minute set. And I stand up. I'm singing along to every song. And when they were done, there's a couple in front of me, and they turned around, and like most American fans, they only knew, Roll to Me. And, they started asking me, they're like, hey, all these songs, we didn't know about it. And I'm like, yeah. So they were really impressed with how good Del Amitri sounded, and they didn't know them beyond, Roll to Me. And it was nice as a fan to be able to talk to them about the music. Hopefully they, with the beauty of streaming and things like that, were able to listen to more Del Amitri. So obviously a tough tour for Justin Currie, but as a fan, just, again, it meant a lot to be able to see you guys again. Also, the book goes into, the tour he did in Europe not long after with another Scottish band, Simple Minds. So book is beautifully written, just like his lyrics. It's beautifully, beautifully written. And, there's this biography of Del Amitri, the Del Amitri story. I think Charles Rawlings Way is Australian. And these are such perfect days. It's a great book if you're a Del Amitri fan. I certainly enjoyed reading it, but this would be like if I wrote a book about Del Amitri. Obviously, this guy loves Del Amitri, And in this book, Del Amitri is the greatest band of all time, which is exactly what I would do too. If I was writing a book about Del Amitri, I'd just be about how awesome they are. They are my favorite band of all time, by far. This is much more critical than this, I guess is what I'm getting at here. And Justin Currie, definitely seems very hard on himself in this book, and it's certainly not, hagiography or anything like that. In fact, it's almost like the opposite. So, and that's maybe my one criticism of this book, or maybe any kind of celebrity, whether you follow them on Facebook or X or, Instagram. How much do you want to know? Justin Currie has written some songs that have kept me going since 1988, 1989, through quite a lot of stuff. High school stuff, college stuff, adult stuff. These songs mean a lot to me. This is my favorite band of all time. Some of my favorite lyrics of all time. But did I find out too much? That's, I guess, the flip side to reading something like this, or I guess listening to that. Beautifully written. And again, I understand Justin Currie more, I understand Del Amitri more, I understand what he was going through, particularly on that tour when he came out to the Indio. But in the end, would I have been better off not knowing some of that stuff? And I'm going to compare this to a band that I'm very into now, a band that I follow, a newer band, Lord Huron. Been following them just about 2011, 2012. I've seen them 8 times. I don't know anything about them. They, other than the music, they don't post about themselves. Like, I don't know much about the main guy, Ben Snyder, outside of the music. I don't know anything about the drummer, the bass player, the guitarist. I don't know anything. I know the music, and they're very guarded. I don't know who they voted for. I don't know who they, what they do when they're not playing. I don't know what they eat. I don't know what teams I don't know anything about them. And sometimes that's frustrating. As, I've seen Lord Huron live 8 times, and I know nothing about them other than the songs. In the end, is that better? So yes, of course, I would love to know, take, the song In the Wind. Devastating song, beautiful song. Probably my favorite Lord Huron song, but it's devastating. It's a devastating song. Part of me would love to know what that song is really about. But on the other hand, maybe I don't want to know what it's about. Maybe I'm better off not knowing. So with some of the stuff that Justin Currie talked about, his thoughts on many different things, would I have been better off not knowing? Now, I've been listening to a guy like Springsteen. Again, I've been listening to Springsteen I don't like Springsteen on the level that I like Del Amitri. But I do like Springsteen. I listen to Springsteen a lot. And Springsteen says a lot of stuff I don't like and don't agree with. But that's Springsteen. I mean, you can't listen to Springsteen and not know he's going to say all his stuff. And that's part of being a fan of Springsteen. So if you're going to listen to Springsteen, whether you like his politics or not, just you as a fan, he's going to go into his politics. That's part of it, and that's part of being a Springsteen fan. Del Amitri, obviously the song, Nothing Ever Happens is a political song, and about, again, Scotland and the UK on the Thatcher. But for the most part, their songs aren't overly political. Again, their feelings about Thatcher and nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens is obvious. But I don't think there was a political band like Springsteen. So do I need to know all this stuff about Justin Currie? Do I need to know what he thinks about politics, what he thinks about American culture, what he thinks about certain places he goes to eat and shop? Beautifully written. Beautifully written. But in the end, I don't know if I'm better off knowing those things. Am I better off just knowing Kiss This Thing Goodbye, stone cold sober, nothing ever happens, am I better off, wondering, close your eyes and think of England? Am I better off, any of these songs, The Medicine? Am I better off, with knowing these songs? Or, in the end, am I better off having learned these things about, his personal life? So I'm torn. Great, beautifully written. Very interesting. I would go out on walks, I'd listen to it, his narration with the, the Scottish accent, and I loved Amitri. I loved the beauty of this writing, but I just don't know in the end if I would have been better off just, knowing the music and my personal attachment to the music versus, this was very personal. And again, girlfriend with a stroke, Parkinson's, he's dealing with a lot of things, on a tour bus. His girlfriend is back home in Scotland. He's just got this diagnosis, and it's a beautiful listen, but it's a tough listen. So just know that going in. Del Amitri, if you haven't listened to Change Everything or Twisted or, Waking Hours, some of the best records ever made. And again, even, the new record, Mockingbird, Carrie, even though it's Del Amitri, Justin Currie actually didn't write that one. It was actually the guitarist. Beautiful song. Missing Person. So many great songs on that new record. But this was, I'm very torn. Is the Lord Your Own Way the best way? Are you better off not knowing anything? Better off with the mystery? Or do you want that kind of more open book? This was very personal. I learned a lot about, Justin Currie, what he thinks about, life in America and the World War II Museum, some of these, farmers markets, some of these places he went to eat. I don't know if I'm better for knowing that, no. But beautifully written. And again, if anything, I hope, I wish him the best with, his fight against Parkinson, and I hope his girlfriend gets better, and that tour, getting to see you guys one more time really did mean a lot. So the Tremolo Diaries, Justin Currie, again, just be prepared. They always say, are you better off really getting to know your heroes? Justin Currie, Del Amitri, my favorite band of all time. Beautifully written, but I don't know if I was better off learning all the stuff that I did. This is the Shogunstein out.